You want me to put that on my todger?
Harry's Wife. Spare. The film. Yes, a few months ago, I was providing you with my analysis of Prince Harry's book, which we all know had the sticky fingerprints of Harry's wife all over it, evidencing her need to tell her husband what to write and portray her, of course, as the most desirable woman in the world, world's best mother, and brilliant content creator, etc., etc. Whilst it provided some amusing aspects, it certainly didn't paint him in a good light, and after a while, I actually got bored of reading it. However, continuing their desire for money, him because it's needed, because his wife tells him it's needed, her because it forms part of a residual benefit and is hugely important to her. The New York Post reports, with an article by Samantha Ibrahim, Prince Harry can count on a record deal for spare film rights. Well, I'm assuming it's a record as in large amount of money, rather than he's going to start crooning and singing about his Fanta pubes or his ginger bollocks. It would be worth more than spare change. Prince Harry and Harry's wife, are reportedly hopeful they can sell the film rights to the Duke of Sussex's popular memoir, Spare. Now remember, a lot of its popularity was simply based upon people thinking, what dirt is he going to dish? What smearing is he going to engage in? Encouraged by his wife as part of her assertion of control over the royal family and other people. As I dissected parts of it, it struck me that he would have been better off writing a separate book about how he felt about his mother and her death, keeping that to one side, and that it would have been interesting to learn more about Harry's experiences in the army, and that he could have written separately about the work that he'd undertaken in Africa. That would have actually been more meaningful, and he could have gone into a lot more detail. As it was, with Spare, you basically got glimpses, almost like someone was shining a torch on an aspect of his life, that you got a few minutes worth of it, and then it was on to the next thing. It was all dealt with in a superficial manner. Certain questions weren't answered. But would it merit being a film? Was his life that interesting? Well, there's plenty to choose from in terms of, you have the tragedy with regard to his mother, you have his behaviour thereafter with the drink and drugs, you have his time in the army, you have his relationships with other members of the royal family, and therefore it's likely that some people would be interested in all of that. But would they be interested in learning about it now that he's spilt the beans in a book? It's not like you're having to envisage world building in certain novels that you've read. For instance, if you read Game of Thrones or Shadow and Bone or Lord of the Rings, etc., where you had to conjure up a world in your mind and then you want to see how it is executed on screen. With this, you know what he looks like, you know what she looks like, you know what other people in the dramatis personae look like. And therefore, it doesn't really leave a lot to the imagination. Indeed, it leaves next to nothing to the imagination, given the candid nature of his frozen todger and Elizabeth Arden cream-smearing antics. Harry's wife, 41, and Harry, 38, are in a win-win position, a senior source told the Daily Express. He will command a top dollar fee for the rights, while involving their foundation. Archwell would mean a more lucrative double dip, the insider is quoted as saying. Netflix, who else, is considered a top contender for the rights, as Harry and Harry's wife, a former actress, in 2020 signed a multi-year deal with the media giant that's estimated to be worth $100 million. The couple released their shit series, Harry and Harry's Wife, last year, detailing their boring introduction in 2016, their spectacle of a wedding in 2018, and their move to Monte Shitshow, California in 2020, thus inducing a catatonic state in most of the people watching it. The streaming service could be angling to amp up its royal content, as the hit series The Crown wraps up its sixth and final season later this year. Given the success of Spare and Harry's cachet, he can count on a record or near-record deal, the source added to the Daily Express. But a source familiar with the royal couple told the Post they have no intention of turning Spare into a film. I don't believe that. If there's money to be made, which is a key residual benefit for Kermit Goes to Church or Fridge by Valentino, she'll be there, racing towards it like shit off a shovel. Her narcissism will demand it. Spare, which was published in January, is the fastest-selling non-fiction book of all time, which description actually is a little bit unfair because I think it is peppered with parts of fiction, particularly those involving Harry's wife, selling a staggering 1.43 million copies in the United Kingdom, United States and Canada on its first day. It then goes on to repeat various things that we already know from the book in terms of the fight with William where he broke my necklace, and talking about the Nazi uniform and the contentious relationship that he had with his father and his observations about Camilla, etc. It strikes me that a film wouldn't add anything. In fact, it would be laughable to watch it. Nevertheless, despite the denial that's been issued by the grandma's bedspread-wearing spider, the fact remains that it would be too tempting for someone who has such an obsession with money, the residual benefit that she has, to have it turned down. Indeed, it wouldn't surprise me as if she decided that there should be a film made of it and she will play herself in the film. After all, she's so important. The money that would be generated by this would be hard to resist for someone such as Harry's wife. Money, a residual benefit to any narcissist, is particularly important to a somatic narcissist, which is her cadre. Money enables her to use it to control other people. It allows her to prompt reactions from other people, be it envy or admiration, so that she receives further fuel. It enables her to manage her facade. It enables her to pay for things through which she is then able to assert more control, the PR puff pieces with which we're hugely familiar. She has become accustomed to a particular standard of living, private jets, the security, the expensive clothing that she buys that never makes her look any good. And therefore, her narcissism, having got used to this residual benefit, will want her to keep getting hold of it. And therefore, it is tempting to have it sold for the film rights. Harry won't have any say in it. He has to go along with what she says because, after all, she is his handler and she is the boss. Accordingly, I anticipate that moves will be made to have it filmed. Something to look forward to. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.